Welcome back to Cheche, the program where opinion counts. Dr. Mzalendo Kibunjia of the National Cohesion and Integration Commission is our guest this morning. We've been talking about hate speech, and recently you asked us to be careful as we discuss land during the campaigns. Why would you attempt to silence discourse on land?
I don't think really we wanted to silence discussion about land, which, as they were saying, so it is swara nyet, swara sugu, a very difficult problem that we have been grappling, in fact, I think for the last 150 years. What we are saying is that, look, let us discuss land asking the right questions. And the right questions are questions that don't incite people on basis of that issue. And I said, and we said, this issue of land, nobody has the answer to it. Because if they had the answer to it, and because we have been grappling with it, we would have had a solution. So that's why we decided as a nation, the best way to solve this problem is to put land issue in the constitution, which we did, is to also do a land policy, which also we did, and also to create an independent institution to help us solve this problem. Because even those who have answers of land, it is such a political hot potato, they don't want to give us the answer.
To the extent that the commissioners have not been contested.
So, yeah, well, that's an issue, and I think that's a legitimate issue to discuss about. So I said, since we had agreed that the way to solve this problem is by creating these strategies and these institutions, why don't they give them an opportunity to solve them? Because nobody wants to solve them. But then when you start asking questions like who owns what, yes, you can ask that for someone who owns 10,000 acres, but where will you stop? Will you go to someone who owns 2 acres when everyone else is owning half an acre and ask how did you get 2 acres when I have? Did you go to someone who owned an acre when someone is owning a quarter? I said, that may be a problem. You don't even have an answer to that.
So there's a specific question from Thomas in Kangemi. When Raila says that Uhuru's family owns several thousand acres of land and should give out part of it, isn't that hate speech?
No, it's not hate speech. I'm saying maybe it's a legitimate question for him to ask. But then I'm asking that in the kind of environment where we have the country is very raw, as you see, all the opinion polls that we have seen, will you solve that problem? If you ask Uhuru that problem, will you solve the land problem in Kenya? Even if we gave those 10,000 acres and left, will solve the land.
But, you know, Doctor, I disagree with you entirely on that matter, because this question is targeted at one person who is seeking public office. Why this question is being asked is not because so much that Uhuru owns this land, which he got to own by either his father. The issue is, will he, being in that situation, be the right person to therefore address the land question, which is a legitimate question to ask in a campaign.
Are you suggesting
why wouldn't that question be asked? Why should it be framed as incitement? It's not saying people who have land, it's you have this amount of land, what will you do as a person seeking public office? How is that a national challenge?
I mean, surely, does it mean Raila has a minimum amount of land that needs to be owned by a Kenyan? Doesn't he have land that he also can distribute?
Yes. Then Uhuru should ask him back that question. That conversation need not be in public, need not be considered to be incitement. These are two people seeking office who can question each other, and we can contribute to their discourse.
And that's why
Raila has a lot of land, Uhuru has much more land.
Thank you.
You guys, you want to lead us. What is your solution to the land question? Address it.
And you know, I'm also asking, all these people who are asking each other this question, they have been in the cabinet together for the last 5 years.
Yes.
Why haven't you been asking each other that question when they're in cabinet? And then come out and say, today I asked Uhuru this question and he has not answered me.
Yes.
Why are you bringing your issues? Because all these political class own land. Lots of it.
Yes.
None of those people asking those questions owns 1 acre of land.
Yes.
So that's the issue that they should deal with it there. When they come to us, they should be telling us, this is how I'm going to solve this problem. Because we know land is emotive.
So does this go back to the original question that this therefore is incitement? Because, they have emotive?
It's an emotive issue, which is likely to bring problems in this country.
So what is the difference between emotive and incitement?
Well, there's incitement in the penal code.
First of all, the issue was that he stole. That the family of Kenyatta family stole. And then Kenyatta said, you also stole molasses.
Yeah.
Now that language is it's not useful to.
They are individuals, but remember, they have a whole horde of supporters.
Yes.
Yeah. You touch them, you have touched 10 million people. or 5 million people. That I'm saying, let us have constructive discussion that does not bring emotions on these people that you are leading.
Okay.
Give us answers.
And so then, where's the line between an emotive discussion and an insightful discussion?
Well, emotive is something that you feel so strongly about it, and when you feel so strongly about it, you know, like when the Maasais wanakura moyo in Kiswahili, they can do anything about it. So when you become so emotional, you can have reactions that are not likely to help this country. Remember, our work is to make sure that Kenyans live peacefully, coexist, and carry their business, whether it's politics or whatever possible. Incitement is when you tell people, go and, for example, if you continue that discussion, then you will be telling people, go and invade someone's land, because he earns a lot of. That's become incitement. Because then he says, you have no legitimacy for you to own what you own, so we who are landless can now go on and claim this piece of property. Yes. And that's what we're saying now, it becomes a problematic. Right. Yeah, it puts the country in a very bad situation. Discuss land, but ask the right questions and discuss the issues.
So what you
That's
want,
not personalized.
what you want done is the land question discussed beyond the personal.
Thank you. That's what I would want.
Titles and who controls
yeah.
Okay.
And you should not be discussing it, because remember, one of the things also in the Constitution says, Parliament shall pass a legislation saying how much land someone can earn.
Yes.
That legislation is not in place.
Yes.
The Land Commission that was supposed to solve this issue is not in place. So now, even when you are discussing it, how will you solve this issue when we have not been able to solve it for 150 years?
How many Mzungus own hundreds of thousands of acres in Laikipia?
They do.
Why is it they're not? It's only Uhuru. Is it only Uhuru?
They do, but they're not seeking the presidency. They're not seeking the presidency, Mutegi. There's a difference here. I mean, here is somebody, we're looking at the individual records of these guys who are seeking office. If they have a scandal of corruption, we want them to address it. If they have something stinking in their cupboard, we want it out. And that is how elections are won, based on what is in your cupboard. We can't say, oh, everybody. No, we have to address them. My question, and which is, comes back to you, Daktari. The president has failed to gazette a commission, the Land Commission, on this emotive issue we're talking about. Yeah. What is... And clearly it's causing national disintegration. Yeah. So what have you communicated to him?
I think for me, I agree fully with the statements that were issued by the chairman of the CIC, the Commission on Implementation of the Commission. I think Dr. Cheche, what he said, I think we agree with it. I think it's very important. I don't know, even myself, I can tell you, I don't know what is the impediment of having that commission. But we think and we believe, even as a commission, that these commissioners need to be gazetted so that they can begin work and begin addressing this issue.
So given that part of your mandate has to do with the integration of Kenya, and we've already acknowledged that land is an emotive issue. If you have the executive holding up a commission that is supposed to address a historical injustice, but also work to provide the cohesion and the integration that you're supposed to be doing, doesn't that undermine your own work?
Yeah, I would say it does undermine our work.
So why haven't we heard from you?
Look, I mean, we don't have to speak all of us, and I think
no one has your mouth. Daktari's mouth is Daktari's mouth.
CIC does not represent you.
CIC is a sister commission. We are a part of the independent commissions that were created.
Have you quietly? Have you communicated, talked to the office of the president, maybe the head of civil service, and asked them exactly what the hell is happening?
Let me tell you, we have of the 17 commission independent offices, we have what called chairs forum, and there we agree. Which even Honorable Mutunga is there, the Attorney General, Director of Budget, and this commission. Yeah. And even if you look at the minutes of those chairs forum, we have said we would want this commission to be named. And I think that's where it's stopped. Sometimes I don't think shouting over the roof helps.
It may not be shouting over the roof.
Democracy.
It may not be shouting over the rooftop, but I suppose for those of us in communications, you say that there are 17 of you. You write a statement, all 17 of you sign, and you deliver it to the...
Maybe that's the next step.
Maybe, or will it be the next step?
It's a good advice.
Why do I sense hesitation?
There is some reluctance,
hesitation by the Commission, Dr. Kibunjia here, to confront issues that are smoking, that are actually divisive in this country head on. No, I mean, the president has declined. You say the issue is so, emotive. It's one of the biggest issues in this country. First of all, President Kibaki, when he came into office, set up the Ndungu Commission. On land, nothing significant came out of that land commission. We have set up a national land commission in the Constitution. He does not want to gazette it. You have said here nobody wants to deal with this issue.
Yes.
Why isn't the president dealing with it?
I think
away from himself.
David, I think we want to deal with the difficult issues, and land being one of them. And I can tell you, there have been several overtures about this issue that has been going on. It's not that we are scared about it. And the good thing about it is we're a dependent commission, so we don't worry that if you tell the office of president that this is wrong, that you will get sacked the following day. So we have done something. We're just hoping that this chorus of noise coming from everybody.
Would it be wrong if I assumed that you are not very vocal because your terms were due for renewal? Now that you have renewed, maybe you can voice something.
Yes.
No, I don't think so, and I'm sure I can get another job when I leave the commission. So I don't think I should worry about that very much.
But isn't that part of the problem with us in Kenya, is that there's always this failure, A, to confront authority, but B, to take up responsibility? Because if you're responsible for cohesion and integration, and you say you've left it to the Commission on Institutional Constitution to speak on your behalf, that's an abdication of responsibility, isn't it?
But we speak about it. I'm saying it here today that that I think.
But because we've pushed you.
No, it's because not because you have pushed me. I'm saying today that the fact that we are not dealing with this issue of land, and particularly the Commission is not pleased. It's affecting cohesion and integration.
I'm sure that
because people feel that these issues they complain about, nobody is looking at them, and I'm sure the reason will prevail in the office of president.
The thing is that the resolution of the land issue is usually obstructed by the stakeholders, and people have an interest in that land in a big way. For example, there's a bad signal that Kibaki has declined to gazette this commission, and he's sharing views there, in my opinion, with former President Moi, who has the major issue in land in this country, because the former President Moi opposed the appointment of one commissioner to that commission, which was very shocking because Moi never came out on most of these issues. But on the appointment of somebody, a commissioner to that commission, Moi came out and spoke against it. That person is still on the commission. Yeah. And the fact that Kibaki doesn't want to appoint that commission seems to me there is a collusion between the current and the former president.
Well, that's hypothetical.
Are you pursuing these issues aggressively? Because that's your mandate.
I don't know really what is the reason. You see, here we're grappling in the dark because we really don't know what is the reason they are giving. if that was the issue and it was in public domain, then we could respond to it. Now, if I respond to it, maybe that's not the reason, and we move on.
So address this perspective then from a viewer who texts, with no single prosecution from the NCIC, the political class gladly regards the NCIC as an empty debe. Show your clause. Hate speech must be dealt with head on.
And you know that's Udo, that's why I ask myself, when a person makes that statement, what is the empirical data that they have that says in 2007 hate speech was 80%, in 2013 it is 90%, so it has gone up. But me, I have data which I mentioned at the beginning of the program showing it has come down. And I have not taken people to court, I have not prosecuted, and I always remind people, do not measure National Cohesion and Integration Commission on the basis of when people it has taken to court, but measure it with the objective that it had. That whether we have been able to deliver peaceful coexistence compared to 2007. In that one, I think we have. We have used different methods, warnings, sensitizing people, and maybe one or two cases that we have taken to court. But we are not policemen. But we say, if I tell you let's live together, don't incite people, and you stop, we hit you.
There's a question, a specific one from Evans in Migori County. How did Waititu's case end? Why do I have a feeling that your office is not doing much to solve the political tension on hate speech? How many people has your office prosecuted on hate speech?
That's the same again. I said Waititu case is still in court, and even if we win the elections and found guilty, I would imagine the matter will take its logical conclusion. I don't know what the court will decide. But I want to assure Council we have done something. We have done something. And again, I'm saying it's not the only way to deal with hate speech. The way to deal with hate speech is only prosecution. There are many ways of dealing with it, and we have been utilizing both of those.
But you're aware, Dr. that people are looking for a deterrent.
True. Something
that says if you do this, those are the consequences.
Yes.
And there is no deterrent as yet. There is persuasion going on. A lot of activity to lower the hate speech and so forth. That's all good.
Yes.
But punishment has to issue.
But I'm saying, and that's why, David, I was saying, when you look at this study and says only about 11% Kenyans in 2013 who have had statements made in public that are likely to harm their own ethnic community. Okay. It's not 50%. It's not 20%.
All right.
It has gone down.
Okay, let me ask you something else. With regard to the social media, internet stuff that is going on,
yes.
When somebody, and I see a lot of people complaining about the hate speech online,
True.
What are they supposed to do when you see hate speech or you are addressed in a manner that constitutes hate speech? What are the steps that one ought to take?
The first thing that you do is that you need to write a complaint to the commission and say, I so-and-so, I was insulted, or these statements were made in this site. Then you come to us and you write a statement. Then now we begin the investigation of trying to find who this person is. If we find them, they have to write statements, and then find who are the witnesses who will go and stand in the court of law and say, I was there, I was a target of this, or I saw it, and it's part of it. Once that is completed, then now we have been able now to take the cases to court. Sometimes one of the challenges we have is where, yes, you report and say there's hate speech on this side, but when I tell you come and become a witness, you start citing different things.
But can the commission itself investigate and plant its own staff to get into the websites and the big part of the discourse?
I agree.
That's investigative work,
I agree, David. And that's what we are. Some of these cases that we are taking, this is some of the things that we have done. To get almost.
Are you satisfied there are not certain people in certain areas, in certain locations, who are preparing to fight after the elections? Are you sure losers will accept they have lost? I know one particular candidate who has now categorically said they will agree, and therefore there are certain people in certain areas who are prepared to fight after.
On Monday during the big debate, we are going to run a PSA, public service announcement, from all the 7 candidates, where they are saying,
we have 8 candidates.
The 8th one didn't record. He said he was too busy.
Who was the 8th one?
The Honorable Dida. He did not record. So we're not going to run his PSA on Monday. Where they're saying, I so-and-so, I'm a presidential candidate, I am committed to peaceful elections, and I want to urge my supporters also to do peacefully, and that I will accept the elections, and if I have issues with it, I will go to the court. They will say that on Monday.
Okay.
You hear all of them.
Okay, they've certainly committed themselves to peaceful elections and to accepting the results, but the question remains whether their supporters, and remember that was the problem with the 2007-2008 violence, when people claim that the violence was spontaneous or not, that it was this, the supporters going out and rejecting the results. So how then do you address the rest of us and ensure, because of course in the papers this week we saw that some communities are arming themselves, that machetes are being bought.
Yeah. I think that's a real danger, and I agree with you, Havana. Even us, when we did the monitoring of the nominations, that's something that we said, and we issued an advisory, and we need to have this message going on, where the candidates themselves, they are amenable to keeping peace and making it, but their supporters, they become unruly and they do those things.
But what if they're using their supporters as proxies to vent their frustration with the results? You
wouldn't know whether what I speak is the truth or not. I can only hold you with a statement that you make, and that's why we need to sense that Kenyans is about you. You create violence, it affects you directly, and we have been speaking. I think, in my opinion, we have successfully been able to talk to the leadership, the political leadership, and I think they are resisting from those things that are like to incite Kenyans. We need to work more on the ordinary citizens, and even in the next 2 weeks we're going to have very targeted advertisement targeting to individuals themselves.
Okay, we have to pause now. Let me remind you that you're watching Cheche, the program where opinion counts, live on Citizen TV with our guest, Dr. Mzalendo Kibunjia of the National Cohesion and Integration Commission. If you've got questions, thoughts, opinions, SMS them to 2442, or you can tweet. The handle is Cheche_TV.